Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're reviewing WWE Elimination Chamber from Perth, Australia 2024. Before we get into the review, if you haven't seen any of my videos previously, I do rate everything on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Let's jump right in and start with the pre-show match. We got the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka, defending the Women's Tag Team Championship against Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. I think this was a fun match and a good way to hype the crowd up, Indy Hartwell being from Australia. Both of these teams being what I would consider two good women's tag teams. Watching this kind of reminded me of how little they've done with Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae both. I think they're both amazing talents and could be used a lot better. This was a good match. I can't say it's much more than good, to be honest with you. It felt like a pre-show match. This is the kind of thing you would see there. And that's not a knock on anybody in the match, it's just how it's set. We start to see a common theme here, and I feel like it's a theme through the show, which I'll talk about at the end when I cover the thing as a whole. The Kabuki Warriors pick up the win. I'm giving this a 3. The theme I was mentioning is, it feels like every match here was kind of obvious who the winner was going to be. I feel like there was no universe where Indy and Candice win, especially being in WrestleMania season. I think the Kabuki Warriors will have a tag team match on one of the nights of WrestleMania. So yeah, there's that. Now going into the main show, we start off with the Women's Elimination Chamber match. We have Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair versus Liv Morgan versus Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi versus Raquel Rodriguez. And I won't talk about every elimination because if I'm going to be perfectly honest, I tried to watch this live. I did watch this live. I got up to the Men's Elimination Chamber and fell asleep during that, and it's not because of the show itself, it's just because of the time it was on here on the East Coast of America. Going into this, I only had like 3 hours of sleep, so I did crash out. And the reason I bring that up, I don't remember the exact order's elimination if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I will talk about this, however. There are two people that I think really stood out in this match, one being Bianca Belair, which is no surprise. Bianca Belair is one of the most gifted wrestlers in the world. She is so extremely talented, and I can't say enough about how gifted she is and how much of a game changer she really is and how special she is. Becky Lynch is Becky Lynch. She's amazing. She's a Hall of Famer first ballot. Liv Morgan has a great story. I kind of feel like when you put her in a match like this, you see where Liv, and again, no knock on Liv Morgan, is just a step below the other women in here, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, and I'll talk about the others here in a second, and where she's just below that level where Rhea Ripley would be. You know, she's a good wrestler. She would be best served if the women's division had a mid-card title, like an Intercontinental or US Championship, because I think she would be a really good mid-card champion. I just don't feel that she's on the level of the main event women in WWE, if that makes sense. And I'm going through these one by one, obviously. Tiffany Stratton, she's the other person other than Bianca that really blew my mind in here. And I've watched Tiffany Stratton grow in NXT in basically less than 2 years from where she started, and she's grown by leaps and bounds. She was initially being carried by her character work, which is phenomenal. Now her ring work is matching her character work. I think she really put the world on notice here, and that Tiffy time is going to be coming a lot sooner than a lot of people think. She is going to be a main event star. She's going to be in the mix for a lot of years, and this is basically her coming out party for that. Naomi looked amazing as always. Everything I said about Bianca can also be said about Naomi. She is one of the best athletes in the world, probably one of the most athletically gifted women's wrestlers of all time, along with Bianca and a few others. She looked phenomenal in here. The feel-good story of the chamber was Raquel Rodriguez, and I won't cover it because I'm not a doctor, and to be perfectly honest, I didn't really understand what the Instagram story was getting at, but she did put out an Instagram story about some allergic reactions to mold, and it's sympathetic because Raquel is someone that we love as fans. She's a really good wrestler. And watching Raquel, because I live in Florida, I have the opportunity to go to a lot of NXT shows. Seeing Raquel from that time and actually getting to meet her a few times, she is so genuinely a nice, caring, sweet person. I have pictures somewhere, I don't know where, of me and her a few different times, and every time I got to talk to her, she was amazing. She was genuine. She was welcoming to the fans, and you can't help but root for someone like that. Like I said, she was the feel-good part of this show. I hope the ailment that she's going through, she gets through it quickly, and we get to see her back in the main event, because being in here, again, this reminded us of how great she is. And I'm talking about this match a lot because I think this was actually the best match on the card. Becky Lynch does pick up the win here, which again, I thought was inevitable. Like I said in the first match, there's going to be a theme going through the show that the matches seemed a little bit on the predictable side. I thought this was the best match on the card. If I'm being honest, I'm giving this a 5. That's followed up with the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest defending their tag team championships against the New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, and I almost called him Butch there. So used to Butch right now, and I know it's ridiculous you get used to silly names, that when they go back to their actual names that you like better, the silly name gets stuck in your head. Judgment Day has Dominic out there with him, which is kind of interesting because he doesn't come out with Rhea at the end, but I think I know why they did that. I thought this was another good tag team match. I do like New Catch Republic. I like Dunne and Bate. I think they're great wrestlers. Again, it felt like this was something that had no question that Judgment Day was going to win this. It's pretty obvious that they're setting up a Priest and Balor versus R-Truth and The Miz match for WrestleMania. So this, it kind of felt like a no-brainer that New Catch Republic was going to lose. And they could have done a thing where New Catch Republic won and they want it back or whatever, but let's not get that convoluted on the road to WrestleMania. Judgment Day does pick up the win here. I thought it was a good tag team match. I really liked it. I'd like to see these two teams go at it again somewhere down the road. I'm giving this a 4. Next up, we get to the part of the show where I started fading out, and that was the Grayson Waller effect. And again, no knock on them. He had his tag team partner friend, Austin Theory, with him. They bring out the Architect, Seth freaking Rollins, and Cody Rhodes. And I just love the reaction that Cody gets everywhere. I'm a huge Cody Rhodes fan, and I have been for a very long time. Much like I said with Raquel, I've had the opportunity to meet Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes has always been great to me. And I've said this story before on video, but I don't know, it's been a while since I brought it up, but there was a few years back, probably like 6 or 7 years ago now, when he was in Ring of Honor, and he had a match against Jay Lethal that was a bull rope match. And that day was the first day I met him. I had with me a Dusty Rhodes bandana that was given to me by my friend Laura, and it was from Dusty's time back in Jim Crockett Promotions. So I brought it with me with the thought, because I love the Rhodes family, all 3 of them, well, all 4 including Brandy, I wanted to take a picture with Cody and holding up the bandana, which we did. Cody borrowed that bandana from me that night, and I know I'm going off on a tangent, and wore it around his face for his entrance into the match. Now, the bad thing about that is, unfortunately, I didn't get the bandana back. I did get a great story out of it, and I know it's not his fault because he had a concussion in that match, or he did have to go to the emergency room. I do believe he did get a concussion there, but it was a great story nonetheless. That being said, back to the Waller effect, I thought this was fun. I really enjoy Grayson Waller. I think he's really come into his own. He fits that role, and this is going to sound like a knock. He feels like a better version of The Miz. He feels like if you have The Miz here and Roddy Piper here, Waller would be somewhere in the middle. He's not quite as good as Piper, which Piper is the high watermark for these in-ring type interview segments. But he's also really good. I think he's really entertaining. Theory, I think he's getting there. I think what's helping Theory a lot is being there with Waller, because Theory always had it on the in-ring side. His charisma was a little bit less, so this is a good pairing. The main story beats that come out of this is Cody challenges The Rock for a match somewhere between now and WrestleMania. Seth says he'll have his back, which obviously seems to be leading to the rumored tag team match, which I imagine may happen on night 1 of WrestleMania, and then Seth and Cody having matches on night 2 of WrestleMania. Just saying, it's possible. I do think they're going to have Seth defending his title on night 1 and then Cody and Roman on night 2. So I don't know where that tag match fits in. They could pull double duty on one show. It wouldn't be the first time. But I think they're trying to set that up somewhere here. It definitely feels like there's a tag match coming. Theory starts using The Rock's catchphrases, and while he's doing that, Seth Rollins seems to be laughing and giggling along with him to the point where he gets to the "if you smell," and Seth attacks it. And I thought this was a perfect piece here, a perfect story beat. While they're attacking Theory, and Theory is obviously taking a beating, Grayson Waller backs off like a cowardly heel. And that little piece there, that little thing, speaks so much of the character of Grayson Waller and the fact that his friend is getting beat up and he's not willing to step up for him. That is the character development I love to see. Little subtle things like that. This was a really fun segment. Again, I was falling asleep and having trouble. I did go back and watch it again in its entirety because I started dozing off here. But like I said, I thought it was very enjoyable. I love Grayson Waller. I think his segments are fun. I think he's someone to watch in the coming years. He's awesome, in my opinion. That's followed with our men's elimination chamber. Much like the women's, I'm not going to talk about each individual elimination in the order. We have Drew McIntyre going up against Randy Orton, going up against Kevin Owens, going up against Bobby Lashley, going up against LA Knight, and last but not least, Logan Paul. There's so much in this that I really enjoyed, and if you look at the list of names here, it's going to be hard-pressed not to enjoy a lot of this. Kevin Owens going from mocking people to full-on anger in a blink of an eye was awesome. Randy Orton selling his back with what we know of his back injury was great. It felt real. Bobby Lashley is absolutely amazing. I feel like he gets lost a little bit in the mix when we talk about the high-end guys, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre. We kind of lose Bobby Lashley a bit, but he is up there. And he reminds you every time he steps into the ring, he reminds you who he is and why he's special. This is a guy who 20 years into his career, I think looks better than he ever has. Logan Paul, the little things he was doing, the blowing on the pod and then spelling his name with his finger, I thought was great. It showed the cockiness. It showed who Logan Paul was. LA Knight is just so over that he could do anything in the ring and it's going to look amazing. And then Drew McIntyre. Drew in this really added a little dimension to his character. And it's something where Drew McIntyre has felt for a long time as a fully fleshed out character. He added a little bit. He feels a little more like Edge when Edge really stepped up into that main event scene and he started becoming the ultimate opportunist. I felt like in this match, Drew McIntyre used his opportunities, used his openings to pick up the win because Drew does win the match. And I feel like that's a story that they were telling, whereas previously, Drew would have situations where something would stop him from winning. It feels like he took that and he flipped that on its head, and now he's taking little opportunities and using them instead of the opportunities going against him. I like this match. I think it's just a bit under the women's match. And again, like I've said with every match so far, the outcome felt like it was inevitable. With the work that Drew McIntyre is doing, I cannot see anyone else challenging for Seth Rollins' championship other than him. I do want to bring up AJ Styles did get involved in the match here, and he's the one that cost LA Knight, thus giving LA Knight an out as to why he didn't win. So they're obviously setting something up there, which is awesome. I like this match. Like I said, I feel like it's a little bit under the women's match. I'm giving it a 4. That brings us to our main event of the evening. For the Raw Women's Championship, we have Rhea Ripley defending against Nia Jax. And I gotta say, Nia in this run has looked better than she ever has in her career. I think she looks awesome. I think she's fitting into that monster heel role. I was a little bit surprised that Rhea didn't get a special entrance here, being this is her home country. We've seen them do special entrances for her before. I would have liked to see something a little bit more on that, and I know her just being there feels special because I do absolutely think that Rhea Ripley, if she's not the top star in all of wrestling, she's one of the top 2 or 3. Her star qualities and her it factor are unparalleled anywhere in the world of wrestling. The only people I could think that would come close, and just on star power, would be Cody Rhodes, maybe Roman Reigns, CM Punk. Those type people are up there. That's where she is in the wrestling world. Okada, if we're talking about Japan, MJF and Swerve in AEW, where their charisma is just that great and their wrestling ability is that great that they're just the top of the heap. I've said it every match so far. I'm going to say it again here. This felt inevitable. Obviously, we knew Nia Jax was not going to win, especially with it being in Australia, especially being WrestleMania season. I could have seen this being a Nia win, possibly at Backlash or one of the other lesser events, only for Rhea to win the championship back a month or two later. But no way do I see her losing here on the road to WrestleMania to Nia. Obviously, Rhea picked up the win here. I did enjoy this match. I somewhat feel like Nia Jax has not been in the main event scene enough for her to really wrestle to that main event level. And again, this is not a knock on her. I think she's doing the best work of her career now. And I'm trying to disassociate her with the botches of the past and trying to judge her on what she's doing now. I did really enjoy this match. I thought it was good. I'm giving this one a 4. I would say it's probably my third favorite match of the night, just behind the two chamber matches, with the women's chamber being my favorite, but a good match nonetheless. Overall, I did like this card. I think it was a good card. It was a fun card. The predictability may have hurt some of that a bit, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. Sometimes just because something's predictable doesn't mean it's a wrong decision. Sometimes the thing that looks obvious is the thing you should do. I really enjoyed this. Being in Australia, that gave it a big fight feel. It gave it more of an importance than most Elimination Chambers have had. I thought this was fun from the beginning to the end. The time of day was a little bit iffy for someone like myself, but I understand because people in Australia have to deal with this every other pay-per-view. People in England have to deal with this when they watch WWE pay-per-views or premium live events. I have to deal with this whenever I want to watch a New Japan show. I get that part of it. I did enjoy it. I thought it was fun. I'd love to see them come back to Australia again because the crowd felt awesome here. Overall, I'm going to give the show a 4. I thought it was highly enjoyable. I think every premium live event in the Triple H regime has been really good. And the stories that are being told, the long-time stories, the willingness to sit on something, the willingness to change direction, it feels like he's firing on all cylinders, and WWE Creative's in a really good spot right now. I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I'm giving it a 4. With all that being said, if you made it here to the end, let's smash that like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't. If you see where it says join, that's how you become a channel member. Becoming a channel member definitely helps out. If you're new to my videos, please click the subscribe button. I have a goal of getting to 1,500 subscriptions by WrestleMania. Right now, at the time I'm recording this, I'm at just under 1,400, so I need a little bit over 100 subscriptions within a month. If you could help out, I would love to have that. I'd like to grow this channel so I could do more videos and more content, and I'd appreciate if you helped us get there. If you made it to the end of the video, let me know what your favorite match of the card is. Did you enjoy this? Did you not enjoy it? Let me know your thoughts down here in the comments. With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and this has been my review of WWE's Elimination Chamber.